So I was driving home a couple days ago and was in fifth gear, downshifted to third to pass somebody, and when I did, I lost all the gears. So luckily, basically the gear shift just went in a circle, you know. Anyway, luckily I was able to pull it back into fourth, so I drove home in fourth. Had to seriously burn the clutch at a couple of stoplights, but I made it home. Man, did it smell like burnt brakes for an hour afterwards, the hood open. Anyway, so I get on the internet. Oh, what's going on? Well, you probably got a shifter cable off. Well, I wish I did. I really wish I did. So this is the focus shifter here. Sorry, light's not being cooperative. Okay, so here's the one shift cable. I can move it around here, see, forward and back. That'd be, you know, first and second, and then side to side. So I can get it in the gateway. There, it rocks that other one. But this is just what it looked like when I tore it apart. Neither one of these were popped off. So I went up under the hood, and I went it in neutral. Yeah, no, okay. I'll pull it back in a second. So I went under the hood, and all the cables there were connected too. So then I did some head scratching. Anyway, the camera might have been going there when I didn't know it was. So that's what's underneath the transmission mount there, and I don't know, that brace that comes over here. So next in line here, as I've labeled the bolts because I want to put them back in the same spot they come out of. Got 1, 2, then 3 at the back, and you need the transmission in neutral or something to be able to access this one straight down there in front of the electrical box. I'm just going to try to keep the same bolt, so I labeled them 1, 2, 3. But this is the shifter fork here, or you know, main shifter. So I'm sure we'll see more of it here soon on the video. Okay, so I got this transmission mount that looks like a 3-toed alien foot. Got it off of there. Next order of business was removing the shifter cables from the transmission end. So what I did, actually, there's this button here on the end, you just press it in. So I pressed that with one thumb while I pried underneath it with a pry bar, and it popped off. The other one is down there, attaches to this lever arm here. You can see the ball there, hopefully. I might not be able to, I don't know. It's right down there. Should be able to see it shining now. Little ball down there. But it popped off the same way. It was just a little trickier because it's not as big a diameter. But so that got the two of them. Now I got to get the tranny back into neutral apparently. So next order of business is to clean all this crud off the top of the transmission, because my understanding is that this whole plate here comes off along with this contraption here. Anyway, that's what's going to happen next. So here I am about half an hour later after I've scraped and wire brushed and cleaned that removable top plate there of the transmission. So I'm getting ready to, that looks like 6 bolts to remove, 10mm. So show you when I get it out. Well, there, I got it off the transmission. You can see down the hole there. See the gears in there and fluid. All that. And looks like all these fork things here are lined up. I tried to have the transmission in neutral when I pulled it out. So, like I say, you can see the shaft with gears there. Shifting fork. One thing though, this top cable here, it was not fun to get out of the way. So I'm going to have to look at how you disconnect it from the mount there underneath that octopus of hoses and wires and stuff. because I'm going to want to drop this thing straight back down in, and that cable's not going to let me do that. So here's the offending party here. That's what it I guess it sits in the car that way. But and then this right here is the spiral pin that usually breaks off. I'll try to point to it with something other than a finger. This guy, right there. But mine is not broken off. Thank goodness. That comes out the other side there. You can see that. I guess a lot of people, the pin ends up, parts of it end up in the bottom of the transmission, and you have to fish it out with a magnet or something, drain the fluid and hope it comes out, or go down the hole after you take this off looking for it. But I'm thinking, since I got this off, I may replace it, because obviously something happened that caused me to lose all the gears. So I didn't go to this much trouble to do it twice. So, but unfortunately I couldn't find the pin, and I got a 6mm bolt and a 1/4 inch bolt that I could shave down. So I'll determine what I'm going to do. But that's the offending party anyways. Like I say, in this case, I don't know what happened, but that is the pin that shears off there. In this case, it's a spiral pin, but I hear they're pretty difficult to get your hands on the right size. Just want to make some video here showing how this is oriented before I do anything to it. So I put a mark on here, and that basically points at the transmission. I don't know what switch it is, a backup switch or whatever. And then straight down there, that bolt. So I know this is the neutral position. And so these guys line up with the forks in the transmission in the neutral position. So I think I'm good there. As I say, the pin in this one is not sheared clean off, but I suspect it is partially sheared, because I get, well, I'll try to show you here. I'm moving it. See? It's got that much travel, but this is not moving. So something's not right. Which would be why the feel of, oh, I love it when camera card gets full. Anyway, I'll just do a little go around this here and just show you, in case you have to take one of these apart, you'll know how to put it back together. So this one has not been taken apart yet. So there, hopefully I got enough views of it that if all heck breaks loose, I can get the thing back together. So here I've got the 6mm, in this case I got a 50mm long bolt in, but I've heard that a 30mm is the right length. But anyway, I just got it in here to demonstrate, and I got it clamped in the vise by this end piece here. This is how much play it has with the 6mm bolt. That's not too bad. It was, you know, it should be tighter than that with a pin, but okay. So here's the 3 pieces of the original pin. So it was indeed sheared. Somehow it was just holding together a little bit so that I had the gears again. So I'm glad I wasn't fooled into not fixing this, because it was definitely sheared. Like I say, the 6mm bolt, I've got one here. It works. It would work. But I chose an Allen head is better. I couldn't get one. But I've got an Allen head 1/4 inch. It was 2 inches to start with, and now I've cut it down to 1 3/8 long. And I also had to file, well, I chucked it up in a drill press down to 236, like 0.236 inch diameter. If you get it any bigger than that, it won't fit. It won't fit through the hole. So anyway, my 236 here, it does indeed go in. Okay. Right. It's a bit tighter. Now we'll see how much clearance it's got. See? Virtually none. The 6mm is about 230.5 diameter, so that 5 thou makes that much difference. A little bit of play, but going to have to live with it. Now the other thing I did, I nicked about half of the depth of the Allen key off the head. It clears everything, but I just wanted to make sure that when it was right here that, you know, there wasn't any forks in the tranny going to hit it or anything. So hopefully that's why you want an Allen head. I mean, you could circularize a hex head, but basically it's just got to go in, it's got to go in that slot there and not bump against anything. You don't really need to worry too much about it, you know, tightening up like a bolt. You could cut a screwdriver slot in the end if you can't get an Allen. You just have to be able to put a nut on it, Loctite the nut, and I'm going to interrupt the thread on the end too. So you don't have to, because you don't have to torque it like a bolt. It's just a pin. So with the nut there, whether you use 6mm or 1/4 inch, you want to make sure that the bolt, the reason I don't have a nylon lock nut on here like a nylock nut is because it was just a hair too tall and it bumped into this like rivet head here that I believe has something to do with the reverse block out or something, and I had to trim the bolt down to clear it also. So you got to make sure that it will go into all positions, no problem. So that was the tight one there, was this big like rivet head thing with the bolt and the nylon lock nut. So I Loctited the nut in place, snugged it down, Loctited it, and then I've upset the threads on it there with a chisel. So like I say, it's just a pin. It hopefully won't come out. I'll be the first to know if it does. But so I think my MTX 75 shifter here on the Zetec engine should be ready to put back into the transmission. Here's hoping it all works out okay. So just to show some of the tools that I used to get that pin out, I initially hit it with this, I don't know, it looks like a 5/16 or something like that, until it went flush. And then I used a, what was it, 7/32. And then I have a 3/16 here that's long. You need a pretty long one to get it all the way out. But those three in combination worked just fine. And then as soon as I got it out, I slid the 6mm bolt in just to make sure that nothing got out of alignment. I wanted to keep it the way that it came out of the car. So I got the shift tower back in the car okay. One thing I wanted to point out, this bolt here is longer than all the rest by at least a 1/4 inch. The other thing, so I was able to get it back in the car without disconnecting this cable. I was just able to push it out of the way enough to drop the shift tower in. And once again, you need it in neutral, pointing, kind of points at the, well, I don't know what this is, a reverse switch or what the heck. Just points basically the way it's sitting there right now. That's how you have to have it to get it to drop in to the shifter linkage inside the transmission there.